Let me explain. Or, I mean, let me introduce myself. Or, I mean how to see myself. Well, yes. How to see myself. How to introduce, well, you, then I, well, then, so, then, yes, you, and I, us. How to see myself. Well, you and then I and me and you and, well, us and we, even we, well, you and me. How to see myself. In my ideal body, I'd look like a brown stone. I tattoo the lines between cement squares all over my skin, and my bones would grow into old wood that little mice live in. In my basement, children would think I was haunted. Is that gay? Well, in my ideal body, I become one of the trees that flower white on Columbia Street, just at the end of the school year. Or no, not that. To see your whole body, not just your head. To hold a mirror, to dance with someone who is quite like you, who is not a body disassembled in wooden boxes, because we see ourselves in boxes, right? Like a mirror is a box, and your phone is a box, and the window that you catch yourself as you pass by the deli, that's, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Let me tell you about myself. Well, if I were to tell you about myself, I would say the beach. August 4th, it's one day before an unlimited Metro card expires, so you know it's a bad day. A body was found at Coney Island. And not yesterday, and not a body, but a leg, slick and swollen with salt and water and crammed between a jetty and a rock, and fish biting its toes and nails floating off down into the beds of sand, broken down piece by piece into something a little neater. Let me tell you about myself. I would say sources of water, river, ocean, sea, estuary, pond, lake, great lake, rain, eyes, nose, dog, eyes, dog, nose, the mouth of a baby, drooling, and condensation, of course, and condensation and humidity that presses to your face and skin until you can't feel the difference between water outside and water inside. Sorry, let me introduce myself. Let me tell you about myself. I'm Emma. I'm 25. I love long walks at the park, and blinded by the glare of perfect and immaculate consciousness, I see nothing. Movements of amnesia and repetition, which elaborates an initial forgetting. What was I saying again? Oh, Anna Deavere Smith. And we had something precious, and we recall it regularly and faithfully, which is why I pray at the shrine of the voice of the tape in the box. Do you know about that voice? Are you ever afraid that the voice on the tape will sound different than the ones that you remember? And that when you go back to the ocean, that it will look different than it did before? In Anilao in San Jose, where the water was Gatorade blue, I sat in a car looking for monkeys on the steep hill by the road. The monkeys don't live here anymore, everyone said. But she seemed so sure that they did. And I walked on the rocky shore, which was bases of buildings that had fallen into the ocean in a terrible Bagyao 5 years ago, and 10 years ago, and 15 years ago, and 25 years ago. But I walked to an abandoned resort. I walked to the resort. I took photographs of everything. In a bamboo house, on top of the hill on stilts, I swear I saw a dog in the rectangle of the house. I saw a dog in the doorway, and I saw a hand reach out and pet him. I swear. I lost all those photos, but I felt from them, and from me, and from them, and me, that they were like they were like me. They were trying to hold on to something that wasn't quite there anymore. I try to remember the past. I try to verify it and re-verify it. Is this for your sake or someone else's? I try to verify it and re-verify it once and twice and 3 times through, and I am scared I'll crush it against my chest because my chest aches. At the end of the month, my chest aches. I can see into bricks and stones. Something angry comes out. I see in stars, and a heavy pain sits in me, and I become something made of bone and wax, like a piano. I bleed rivers of red that run into copper on my legs, and I become stagnant, stiff, and still. And if you hold still enough, maybe you won't need to eat or touch or sleep, or maybe everything will pass over me like flies over the lazy mouth of a sleeping dog. Maybe things will be able to stay the same. How to see myself. Every woman in my family thinks about the worst possible situation. Where I get kidnapped, where I'd be in a truck for days, blindfolded, only able to hear the growl of the engine against the road. My organs would be stolen, and the salty iron kidneys would be brought back to some rich aristocrat who eats children's organs for dinner. Or A mysterious disease turns my mouth into aching sores as wide as a nickel. My mouth is gaping holes. I am a gaping hole. My teeth become sharp rocks and I'm only left to drool. Every woman in my family thinks about the worst possible situation. Like when the car runs right into the median because you're singing too loudly to Charlie and you lose control of the wheel, or when an 18-wheeler collides right into the bottom of my apartment and it goes tipping over the edge onto the avenue. Or on the F train, when you're going over the Gowanus Canal and the train bends so far, and I can just imagine it falling right into the Gowanus Canal. Every woman in my family thinks about the worst possible situation. I'm not sure I want to be a woman in my family. Let's get clean.
There are two sisters here. They are not twins, although they've been told all their life that they are. There is an older sister and a younger sister. I don't know which is which. The sisters have been alive for 364 years. I once believed them to be my children, but I know now that it's impossible. When they were born, I named them, bathed them, fed them from my long, swinging breasts. The eldest I named Lavender. The youngest, Willow. I don't know which is which anymore, but sometimes in the early morning haze, I remember. And then I forget. I always forget. I barely remember anything anymore. As children, the sisters had a bad habit of becoming blind. As a mother, I had a bad habit of becoming invisible. This used to scare them very much. The killing started early. Instead of playing, as children do, they would take turns killing each other. They would do it with just a look. One glance. Boom. I've always envied this about them. Not the ability to kill so quickly, but the ability to die so easily. Just let go. Just let go. I've only been alive for 111 years myself, but my deaths have never happened smoothly. For me, it's always hard. For me, it's always painful. I wish it wasn't. I don't like pain. I don't like dying. I don't like leaving. I wish I was as brave as my daughters. They've had more time to practice. They've both been alive for exactly 364 years. To the day. To the hour. To the minute. I've always wanted a twin. My children are gone now. Gone, gone, gone. And they've been gone for years now. I barely remember what they look like. I think their hair is shiny, black, and long. I think their names are Lavender and Willow. I think they're twins. I think they're angry with me. I think they're furious with me. I want them to forgive me. I want them to come home. And I wish that they were mine. There are two mothers here. They are not sisters, and they are not twins. They have never died, although you might have trouble convincing them of that. Neither of them have ever had a name. Both of them are blind. And it was I who clawed out their eyes. Scared. They're angry. They're going to do something, but I don't know what it is. They're scared too. We're all scared. We feel it in our bones. Something has happened. We're stuck. We can't get out. We're looking toward the future. And it looks dark. We're looking toward the past, and our memories evade us. I can't remember. I can't remember anything. Somebody, help me remember.
Imagine separating from you, mechanically, silently, cutting tendons, separating fascia from bones, from skin, the juicy, sticky sensations, the slight stinkiness, cutting flesh like cutting plastics, bones chopped, banged, broken. Imagine being a part of you, apart from you. Imagine you holding me as I hold myself.
Hi. How's everyone doing? Good. Okay. So does anyone here like to play board games? Yeah, okay. Well, when I was a little girl, I used to love to play board games with my family. One board game I particularly remember playing was the board game Sorry. If you're unfamiliar with the game, the concept is to be the first to get all your pawns from start to home. You do this by drawing cards that either tell you to move forwards or backwards. Except there's a special card in the deck, and it allows you to take one of your pawns and switch places with an opponent, causing them to go back to the beginning. The card has the word sorry written in the middle of it. Every single time my dad pulled this card, I knew why he was so excited to say it. He could say sorry without having actions to move it meaningful. Sorry, just to do some fuck shit again. Sorry for putting booze before breakthroughs. In fact, I think this is the only time I heard him say it with such purpose. Like we needed to be engulfed in a game in order for it to mean something. A sincere sorry was foreign on the tongue because every single time Mom left beer, turned my dad into bear where claws, masked fists where purple and blue met and became best friends every single time. Me and my brother smelled the yeast we prepared ourselves to play. To be pawned for an angry alcoholic, I forgot to mention the game has safety zones. Once your pawn enters one, it is not to be touched, to be hit, to be knocked to the ground, and me and my brother's arms acted like safety zones for each other, but they did not protect us from abuse caused by substance abuse. You see, arms only act as good enough shields when you are old enough to fight back, and at 5 years old, I was much better at hiding, not seeking, never wanted to be found, just forgotten until Mom came home. But this is not who my dad is. No, this is not an I hate my dad poem. This is an I hate people who can't handle their liquor poem. This is an I hate people who act like alcohol isn't a drug, like it doesn't have the ability to kill. And although I didn't die, parts of my childhood deserve to rest in peace, but I know this is only my dad when he is drunk, because he is sunshine when sober, adorned when abstinent. But sorry was supposed to mean change, not sorry, but I'm gonna be intoxicated, infuriated, so you just have to be that little girl that loves to play sorry, because this is part of the game. So sorry, but older me is going to bend the rules because I want to say I'm sorry. I too now know what it's like to be sick, to have an unwanted disease, addiction. Doesn't warn you it's living inside of you. Like a parasite, you find out when it is much too late, when it's already feasting off your blood. I learned that consuming drugs meant letting them consume me, so I can either be a vampire or corpse, and I chose to live. So when you chose spirits over our spirits, it felt like teeth sinking into the flesh of my heart, gnawing at forgiveness with liquored language. Dad, I love you, but I'm still waiting for an apology as a proper form of treatment. And no rehab taught me that recovery isn't remedy, that healing helps the hollowness, that sorry is sorrowful in silence. Dad, I love you, but we will never be able to win this game. Addicts lose the moment we start playing. To be more than just a body is to breathe colorful paper, blow out confetti air at any celebration. To be more than just a body is to feel shiny sediments on your skin, giving glitter and gold to anything you touch. But what good is being more than just a body when body does not recognize self? Body requires fuel to keep it running, but when self sees body in the mirror, she thinks that food should not be kept in it. Every bite translates to calories, but don't worry, because self's fingers meet the back of body's throat after every meal. Self tells body this is how we cancel the equation. Body does not digest this well. She screams from intestines, but self persists on the outside. Asks body, do you want a flat stomach? Brain nods eagerly, not recognizing this is a blueprint for mental illness. Teeth beg self to stop vomiting away their enamel. Purging is not purification. Sorry. But wait, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. My bad. Thank you, guys. I'm sorry. Just wait. It's gonna be amazing. Okay. Teeth beg self to stop vomiting away their enamel. Self says that we are worried about the wrong thing, shows eyes, pictures of past self to remind body that we have work to do. Body tells self the work is loving every inch of us. Not looking at skin and asking how do we get less of it, but thank it for its protection. It was not meant to shed, to be woven into coat, hung up like lacerated leather, leave those bones buried in that closet before body morphs into casket. Self, ask how will citrus fragrant through pores if not peeled? To which body replied, the wound is already open. How much more juice do you need to extract from it before you notice it stings and is stripped of all of its zest? So the man that asked me, how can I have an OnlyFans and be a poet? I saw your ass subscribe the next day. You're having a hard time grasping the fact that you like what comes out of this mouth, not just what you can put in it. You wanted me to play the role of submission, which I have been submitting to a lot of literary magazines lately. But no, you wanted me to be the one that cooks and cleans, the ones that gets on my knees, serves you my flesh like fresh meat, just because I put my body on display does not mean it's an all-you-can-eat buffet, and I hope you like to eat shit, because I got a lot of it to talk. Let my poems also be my moans. Belting bilingual breath, balancing beauty and brains. How can someone spit so sexy but speak so sophisticated? They asked, how can I be stripper and poet? I told them my tongue is venom. A seductive snake slithering through your stacks and hissing honesty. A sultry spider crawling into your emotions with my poisonous pen. Weave you into this webcam, why is it that when women show skin, we are deemed unintelligent? I'm tired of worrying about what's going to happen to me as a poet once I say I'm sex worker as well. Did I tell you? I'm also sister and daughter and cat mom and jewelry maker, and it never matters. Because when you tell someone you are a sex worker, all they see you as a slut, as body, a place to break into and rob you of your pieces, and damn, I got some pretty priceless pieces. And a pretty pricey pussy, because I love paper, whether I'm putting ink to it or it's being put in the side of my G-string. The same man that scored me a 1 on this stage managed to give me 100 them on another the week before. Should I have used the microphone stand as a pole? Would he have given me a 10 if he still saw me as a 10? I guess my trauma made me undesirable, because I guess now you can't ignore it. The discomfort on my face while you were groping me was easy to turn a blind eye to. When my wounds became verbal, you drowned out my bleeding voice to white noise. My trauma might not be erotic, but the way that I managed to turn it into craft sure as hell is. People are looking at us like objects before hearing our objectives, trying to touch our lips before they even get the chance to communicate, stigmatizing our work before prioritizing our safety. How is my profession unprofessional? We're all getting fucked by capitalism anyways. Money isn't consent. 9 to 5 should be the crime, because isn't labor exploitation an act of violence? Morality is monetized, soul sold, and surplus, so answer this. Am I still a whore if you never knew I was a sex worker? Am I still a poet now that you know? Studies show that red is the most attractive color. I learned this when a man at work told me I should wear red more often as it's affiliated with sexuality, that I would get more green if I wore more red. Red is sultry. Red is holidays, Valentine's love, strawberries and roses, Christmas stockings, fireplaces. Red, overpowering the blue even in winter heat, radiating skin before a cold shiver, anger, taking forth before sadness, and I was seeing red the night that I wore it. Or maybe I was seeing black, my mind numbed, or maybe I was seeing green dollar bills thinking, if it's not me now in this moment, it will be the next girl in another, and I want to help my mother buy a house again, but I don't think she would have liked how often I pushed my boundaries to do so. Red is still my favorite color. It has the ability to provoke intense emotions like romance, like sex, like rage when told no, like sacrifice, like bleeding epidermis that was never cut, just touched by hands that caressed like razor blades. I was never technically ripped open, just stuffed into a void. Red is a dark room where film is developed into photographs, and I pictured me in there, a memory dangling from a clothespin, one in which I was the epitome of seduction, one in which I was fully developed and I was smiling, and was told a picture is worth 1,000. Not words, just 1,000. Just money, just a body, just another slut who found themselves in the back of a red-lit strip club. Have you noticed that do not enter signs are red? Red is danger. Red is authorized personnel only. Authorization quickly turns into transaction. It's exchanging advances for advances. Sirens sound a lot like cries for help, yet we silence them into a warning. I am starting to wonder if that's what makes red more attractive. If we block out the words on the sign that say stop and inch our way closer until it turns green, until it's a rolling stop, rolling in cash in hand. Red is not the only color I have been wearing in cases where my humanity hackled into a homicide. I've survived the murder in magenta and masculinity, a killing with cargo khakis, dyke on display, and I know, no matter the shade or the garment, no matter the job or the place, we are exposed, susceptible to another being's harm, but it feels different when how you manage to live is always going to be a glaring target. Humanity will be sized down to harlot. Red is just the color I remember most because it reminds me of the incisions I patched up with the check. Red is the slaughtering of safety. Red is the glory and the gruesomeness. Red is the shedding of my skin when you peel back the layers and see fingerprints sunken into the tissue, impressions on every organ as they were abrased for arousal. And don't be scared of the gore, because this horror is finally ready for the massacre. Studies show that red is the most attractive color. So dance to my knife, drink scarlet, and drown in the bloodbath. How pretty is it to be doused in red? When I first came out as bi and people were all like, it's just a phase. Joke's on you, homophobes, y'all were right, because now I'm gay. But with a mouthful of sin, I could never cough up the word lesbian. We are taught that word is dirty, and only the good kind when it's in front of a porn title. We are taught that sex is gross, that our sex is gross unless it is made for male arousal, unless we can be watched, like a science experiment, but only one chemical reaction leads to transformation. We are just substance providing energy that never keeps the lights on in our house. My community is made up of bricks and Stonewall, and on the nights where me and my lover are a circuited fuse, where our bodies become electricity and I finally feel safe enough to be present in the moment, not for money or for anyone or anything else but each other, I thank the stars for the riots. I no longer pray to a God that won't hear me, that won't see me kneel in my times of despair, but I press my palms together with Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera in my mind to pay homage to all the transgender sex workers who walked the stroll assaulted and brutalized just so I can be on stages today, and I say hallelujah. To the ones that fight and continue to fight, the fight is never ending. I'm lesbian. As in trans lesbians exist, I'm lesbian. As in liberation for one of us means liberation for all of us, I'm lesbian. As in non-binary lesbians who don't feel safe enough to come out, lesbians who are asexual exist, I'm queer. As an intersectionality is at the front line of any movement, I'm queer. As in a community is only built from true, utter, radical acceptance, I'm queer. As in if you wave your flag tall and proud, make sure the space that you create around it is safe. If not, let's burn that shit down, let the smoke be a signal to my love, I promise. If their lips are sins, send me to the confession booth. If I'm not forgiven, I will go to hell if I can kiss woman. Let the fire breathe us into existence, igniting my passion. Let's feed the flames. Watch it grow into something larger than us, something that can't be tamed, something that even water would be scared to approach. Let's feed the flames and feast off the rage, because what is all this fury without a purpose? What is all this for if not to celebrate?
So if you know what your feelings are, especially with things that make you feel even more, if you're certain of how you feel about it, so if you know what your feelings are, especially with things that make you feel even more, if you're certain of how you feel about it, then you could let it go, because you already know what it feels like. So at that point, you'll be able to feel everyone around you. That is you willing to give up your energy that God gave you for the benefit of everyone else. So energy is energy, right? They're positive, negative, whatever kind of energy that comes your way. We have the ability to turn it around, so to speak. So now going back on the topic of we're borrowing everything. If we're born into a situation where we are expected to fight one another, right? If it's like protection, all of that, totally understand. But if you're really able to understand that we're all borrowing, as in, there's a possibility that you get born into your enemy's land. Which means it goes as far as saying, not even the bloodline, but the people you're fighting, because you're having a spiritual connection with them. You're intertwined, so if that's who you're thinking about, you might be born into that lineage. Which means now you're really, really killing your brothers and sisters. It's like this. When a person gets so mad they decide to punch someone in the face, what does that really symbolize? Just outside of the human context, like energetically, what does that mean? Well, as far as I can see it, it's a person hitting another person, but it's also a vessel that's controlled by a spirit who's understanding how to utilize consciousness to be in contact with another vessel who is also intertwined with their own set of spirit, and then utilizing the system of sharing consciousness, which means when a fist hits the other person's face, that's contact. If you get rid of positive and negative, that's pure connection. And it leaves a mark in the brain, so then that person can't forget that person. That's a memory. That's love. That's been distorted. Just purely energetically speaking. you already know what you feel like, then you can give that up to feel how other people are feeling about the same thing. Or even something else, whatever it may be. Just, it can't be utilized as a form of escapism though. It always has to be used for a specific purpose. Because that's our superpower. Being able to feel is a superpower. But if you don't know how to use that superpower, you're in trouble. When you get into the good habit of using that superpower, man, it's not about dominating the world. It's about understanding how this shit works. Once you understand and you let the ego go, you don't have to see your name anywhere. Ever. Because the entire world is built with us in it. And the manifestations are incredibly deep and intertwined. It's incredible. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. But you gotta let go of that ego. And trying to feel your own feelings all the time. That's the biggest thing. Because then it's just like, you're in my drink all the time and every time I see you. It's like, we're here for a purpose, you know? To share dreams. You know? Unless you're trying to go, you're trying to leave and go into the woods and meditate. You'll find that place. You know? About feeling people. It's the most precious thing in the world. For the audiences too, because the audience are thinking and feeling what we're feeling and thinking. Not the exact same way, it's just their own version of the algorithm, the way feelings have the spikes and whatever. The analysis comes from there, right? So the thing that we're actually sharing and is the feeling. So whatever the musicians are generating, the audience is also being involved in that. That is also so cool because then we're utilizing the use of conjoined consciousness that's intentional, right? And music happens to be an art form that allows that to happen. So being able to feel together and sharing dreams on the same stage. For example, solos. But even during a solo, the spirit moves around and you can tell where the spirit is. Feel me? That awareness. That's the best soloist, you know? Sharing the spirit while they're soloing. It's not always, hey, this is me, all the time. It's also like feeding off of each other and understanding that's what it is. And the bigger manifestation of that is a dream. A dream. And you can't take ownership of that dream. So everything is borrowed.
Bring it the fuck back. Say it again.
Everything. Everything you ever thought of, everything you had. Like even the thoughts. Everything is borrowed. Why? Because when I think of something, you're think of something. When you think of something, I think of something. It gets transferred. There's a line. Everything is borrowed. You forget, I forget. Everything is borrowed. Forgetfulness is being borrowed. You know what I said?
kid.